Bruce Legal is Senior Vice President, Head of Derivatives and Portfolio Management at Option Circle. Formerly, he was Global Macro Fund Manager and Strategist at Millennium. He was also a Senior Portfolio Manager, Global Macro Fund Manager for Lotsoff Capital Management from 2003 to 2009. He has degrees in finance from DePaul Driehaus College of Business and economics from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He also has several licenses and certifications, including Series 6, Series 3, Series 65, and Series 63 from FINRA, and he's also a chartered financial analyst.
Up here, you just click on your name, and then you go to My Bots and create a bot. Okay, and it brings you into the setup window. So there's tons of ways to do it. No one right way. But I'll just show you like a real simple one, and then I'll maybe walk into showing how to do a little bit more complex one. So the first thing, the automatic start time default is 9:30. Shishu and myself, we like to set these for just a few minutes later, so like 9:45, and then it's basically going to let the market trade for a few minutes. Then it's going to start running the first loop, and I'm just going to save that. And so just for simplicity, once you get going, we haven't done enough, but you can save these as you go. And I'll walk into that after I do the next step. So we've got our start time set, and then next step is, and there's a ton of different ways that you can go here. So let's you can see the drop down here. Time, we've already got the start time set. Equity, loop, decision, open position, close position. So since the first step we want to do is we want to basically outline what stocks to look at. So we're going to look at equities first, and then it's going to say equity types. Okay, we're in the process of broadening this list, but for right now, you could put symbols, and then you could put in up to 25 symbols. So if you wanted to put in like QQQ or SPY, SPY, you can put here, let's go back here. So there's QQQ and then SPY, and you can add in up to 25, and then it'll just do, if you just want to do symbols, you could do it this way. Okay, so let's do something that's not just symbols. So we could look at pre-market gainers, pre-market losers, anything that made a 52-week low, anything that made a 52 high, most active, most unusual, extreme bullish, extreme. So let's look at most active just to start. And so the most active stocks, we can decide if we want to look at everything, all stocks and ETFs, or if you just want to look at stocks. For today, let's just look at the S&P 500. So we're going to look at S&P 500. You can choose up to 50. So let's choose to look at 50 of the most active stocks, and let's look at only stocks that maybe opened up on the day. So we're going to say stocks that are profitable and greater than. So the lowest you can go is 0.10. It's just as a kind of default. So it's basically look at any stocks that are positive for the day. You can also set this as loss, and you can say I only want to look at stocks that are losing to start the day. So, but for simplicity, let's look at stocks that are profitable or up at least 0.1. That's the minimum you can put in here. If you want to just look at stock prices that are greater than a certain price, you could put something in here. So let's say we only want to look at stocks that are greater than $10. Okay. And then there's some other filters in here. If you wanted to choose option volume, you could say I only want to look at stocks that are trading more than X number of shares on options. If you want to look at only stocks that are trading X amount of volume, you could do that. And then there's another feature in here that you could say we only want to look at put call ratios that are in some numerical. But for our simplicity today, we'll just leave it blank, and we're going to hit save. Okay, so that's the first. So now we know that we are going to look at just S&P 500, the 50 most active. So now we're going to say, okay, what technical indicator do we want to look at? So let's just set up a real simple one here. And this is where you go to the decision. The loop just to discuss what the loop is. If you wanted to put a loop in, let's say for example we were looking at 30-minute charts, and we might want to put a loop in here so that it runs every 30 minutes. But for today, we're just going to be looking at dailies. I don't want to get too complicated here. So let's go to decisions, and so now you've got a bunch of different choices. You can look at different types of candles. You could look at based on volatility. You could look at technical indicators, or you could look at pre-screened technical preferences. So for today, let's look at technical indicators. And let's see, we want to look at something real simple. We're going to build a real simple one today. And let's say we want to look at moving averages that are the price is crossed above, let's say, the 50-day moving average. Okay. And so basically what it's going to do, it's going to look at those 50 most active, and it's going to say any of those stocks that have crossed above the 50-day moving average, it's going to choose from. Okay, so we're going to look at 1 day, and let's look at within 5 candles. So it's going to look basically within 5 days. So we want to give it a little bit of room so it can analyze some data here. Now we could pick other stuff here, but let's do that. So that's our first moving average. So it's gonna basically look at, let's just kind of refresh. It's going to look at the top 50 most active stocks, and then it's going to look at only those that have crossed above the 50-day moving average today. Okay, so that's the first filter. And now let's say it finds some. So now we're going to open a position. Okay, and what we want to do is, let's say we want to buy a call. Keep it real simple. And let's say we want to do it so that it's at least 30 days. Now you can choose multiple different things here on the expiration. You can pick whatever, or you can just manually type it in. Or if you wanted to, you could say, I want to look at only options that are between 7 days and, let's say, 14 days. So you could look at only options that are 1 week to 2 week. So for our example today, let's just look at something that's at least 30 days. And we want to look at deltas that are, let's say we want to buy an at the money option. An at the money option has a delta of 0.5. Okay, so we're going to look at only calls that have a delta of 0.5, and then open interest. Let's say we want to make sure that there's a little bit of volume trading. So let's say that the option on this has to have at least 25 contracts of open interest, and then time and force day. Basically what this means right here, time and force day, max trade count. That's like how many times can we trade. So let's say it picks up 5 different stocks that are doing this today. Let's say we want to have at least 5 in there. It may pick up 10, but it's only going to pick the first 5, basically, the way it currently is. We're going to optimize that later. So we put in some risk reward characteristics so it picks the top 5 that we think. But for now, it's going to pick 5. Now we could say pick 10. We could also do that. So let's put this a little bit bigger, and let's say you could pick up to 10 different trades. Okay, so we'll leave that as 10. The net debit of the order basically, it says we're going to look at the mids of the bid ask. So what that means is that, let's say that the option's trading at $1, but the bid on it is 0.8, and the offer is 1.2. Okay, so it'll choose a mid of 1 to try to get that executed. You can change this if you want to do the market or limit price. You can change the bid ask to bid and mid. There's all kinds of different ways that you could do that. I'm not going to get into this. This is a little bit more, this is the whole session just on how you would do this. But for simplicity, let's just go with the defaults, and it's going to try to buy the mids of this option. And we're going to hit save, okay? So now, just to refresh, we're looking at the 50 most active S&P 500 stocks. We're looking for something that crossed above the 50-day moving average, and we're going to buy a 50 delta call. Okay, so the next step is we want to do a decision again. So we're going to go down, in this decision, we're going to close the position. And an order type is going to be an OCO. So basically what OCO means is order cancels order. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put in an order that says if this makes enough money, we want to sell it, and if we lose this much money, we want to also get out of it. Okay, so let's look at the profit first. So let's based on percentage, and so let's say that that option that we bought is one. We paid $1 for it, and let's say if it doubles, we want to get out. So if it doubles, we're going to put 100%. So basically, if it gets to 2, we will sell it at 2 or better. Okay, and then on the loss side, let's say that we don't want to lose more than 30%. Okay, and so we're going to say if we lose more than 30% of our option value, we're going to liquidate that. And so now you've got in your order to take profit, and you've got an order in to take you out if you lose too much money. And you could set this at anything you want. You could also change this if we lose half of our value to get out. Okay, so but we're going to leave it at 30 for today's example. And then again, the bid ask is what we've already kind of covered. It's going to look at the mids and things like that. And now a forced closure. What this means is that let's just say that neither the profit or the loss gets hit, and we're still holding that option. Normally what we're going to want to do is 2 days prior to expiry, we're going to want to just liquidate it wherever it is at the end of before the we don't want to go into the last 2 days. So 2 days prior to expiration, we're just going to automatically get out of this, and we're going to hit save. Okay, and so that's pretty much it. Now we got to set up a couple of, this is it for this bot. So basically our bot is built, but now we have to put in a few more things. So let's go to, we're going to save it. And so we have to name it something. So let's just call this bot test 1 is the name of our bot from the website. And then we can also just call it bot test 1 here too. And and then we're going to put in our workflow. And what this is look, you can type in as much as you want here. It does give you a minimum number of characters before you can't put any more in. But let's just take a look at. We're looking at top 50 most active S&P 500 stocks. And with price above the 50-day moving average. Okay, and then we are buying a 50 delta call. Okay, and then title image, you can pick up. If you want to have picture your own, you can do this. Or if you want to go from the library, which is what I always do, I kind of have one that I always pick. I always go with this guy, but you can pick. There's tons of them here. Hit apply, and then for the icon, I always pick this one here. But you can pick. There's tons of them here to choose from. And now let's look at the trading risk strategy. This strategy here, let's break them down: speculative, aggressive, defensive, and income. Okay, so this isn't an income strategy because we're basically paying a premium on this option, and your income strategy is typically designed for like a call spread, put spread, where you're going to generate some income if the market does this or that. Now you could argue that this could be income because if we buy a call and it makes money, it's going to generate income, but that's not really defined in what income means here. It's not an income generating strategy. It's not defensive because we're buying a call. Defensive would be, we're trying to take protection, maybe buying puts, things like that. I don't know if I would call this aggressive because we're just buying a call. And really aggressive strategy would be selling a put here or selling a put spread. But since we're just basically spending a little bit of money on a call, we'll call this a speculative. Okay, so that's speculative. And then trading type. Okay, since this is a 30-day trade, that's what we're hoping for. It's not a scalper. Is someone who's basically gonna, get in and out the same day. Same thing for a day trader. We could argue this could be a swing trader, or it could be a position trader. It's probably not a momentum trader because we don't know if the stock isn't momentum based. So for today, let's just call this a position trade, okay? And then let's say that we're going to open this account with $10,000, okay? And we're going to say that 50% of it's available in our budget. So $5,000 is the most that we could hopefully risk on all the different trades today. And then the minimum risk per trade is going to be about 5%. So if we buy one option, we're willing to spend up to 5% or $500 for each option. If we were to buy 10 today, that would be 5,000, which would max out our budget. Okay, so if you don't want to put on more than 10 trades, you could go back to that, right, telling you how many you could do, and you could switch that to, let's say you want to do 3 trades or 2 trades, you could change that. Okay, this is a new version, it's version 1. I just like to usually put version 1 down here also. Restrict duplicate trades is yes. So that means you can't trade the same stock twice in one day. Same thing with 1. And then the brokerage is the paper trading account. Okay, if we were trading live amount of money, you'd be able to pick the broker you're using. So now we're going to hit save. Okay, and it's going to go through and save everything. And so let's wait till this is all done. And so our bot is built. There's our bot right here. So bot test 1. Okay. Now I'll stop there and see if anybody have any questions at all.
So yeah, I had a question. So like
Yep.
for the non-decision steps, like we can just ignore the no's, right? Because there's like the yes no decision tree. So for the things like opening a position or like anything that's not like a binary decision, like we can ignore the
Yeah,
like,
you're talking like right here where it says end.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you wanted to do a binary decision, you could. So let's say that you got your 50 most active and it went over here and said it couldn't find. You could actually say, you could actually build another one over here that says, well, you know what? I actually want to look, if it's not doing that, let's say we want to look at moving averages of that are basically the price has crossed above the 100-day moving average. Okay, so you could do that too, right? And then if you did that, you'd have another tree on this side. So I didn't want to get too complicated, but yeah, you could. Right now, it's basically saying if it doesn't reach this, if it doesn't meet this criteria, it's just gonna end and not do anything. Okay. But you could split it, and you could have multiple trees in here if you want. So so that's does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions? Okay, so let me go back here and I'll just show you a couple other functions here. So here, once you create your bot, it's going to be right here. And if you notice, you got a bunch of different icons you can look at here. You can look at performance, you can view it, you can edit it, you can destroy it, or you can make a copy of it. Okay, so let's go into the performance part first. So what this is, and what I'm gonna do is just show you this, but then I'm gonna go into another one and kind of actually show you what happens. So this is where it tracks the overall performance. You can look at the trades it's making. You know, if somebody wrote a review for it or different versions, you can look at it here. So let me get out of this, and I'm going to come back here and let's just look at one of these here. Let's look at this. I don't know how much this one's traded, but let's look at the 60-minute bear one, and we're going to look at performance. And this will give you a little bit better idea of the things you can look at once your bot's trading. You know, this one's only traded once, so let me find one here that's been active. Let's look at this long time spread. I think this one's been a little bit more active. Let's look at this one. So this is my test account where I'm testing. All those are all new test ideas that I'm building. Okay, so let's look at this one here. So now you can see this one's been built since July 12th. So it's been running not quite a month yet. And it gives you the daily performance. Is obviously if it's green, it's positive, red, it's negative. And then it gives you a running total here. Okay, so that's performance. And then if you scroll down, you can see what's performance. So this one here is about 53% of the trades are profitable and 32% are losers. This is actually a pretty good performance. So whenever you get 55 to 60, that's pretty high. You know, the average top 5% hedge fund manager basically generates profitable trades on about 55% of their trades. And they make a lot of money on the winners, and they lose just a little bit on the losers. So this is actually not a bad characteristic to start. Okay, and then down below it'll give you more information on it. Okay, so this is the first page, and there's a lot of other statistics here you can look at and dig into and look at and analyze, you know, what this bot does. So let's go to the next window over here and look at bot trades. So now this is going to show us exactly what bot was trading, and then you can dig in. So let's scroll over. I'm going to scroll over to the right here, and you can hit status. Okay, so right now there are no active. There's no active ones open here because they're all closed. But let's look at the very first one, the very top one, which is International Game Technology. Okay, so you can look at what the trade did. So it bought a Jan 2025-24 call, and it sold an October 2024-24 call. So this is a calendar spread. So it basically buys one time frame and sells another time frame. So I won't get into the technicals of the time spread, but basically you can go through and you can see the original price paid was 85. It's currently at 70 cents. And so it's down around $15. And then if you want to dig into the trade, you can dig in by just clicking this and view it, and it'll bring up all the data for the individual stocks. So now you can look at what day it put the trade on and what day it took it off, and you can go through the whole thing. So that's another nice feature of the bot window, is you can go in and you can dig into it. So that's kind of basically how to create a basic bot. You can do a lot more stuff. One thing that I didn't show you that you could do is, let me just show you something here. Up on top here, you can see you've got all these little icons. So let's go to technical analysis. So we're going to go to this page just for a second here. And what you can do is you can build them in here. So I've got some built, and so let's go look at trade idea number 4. All right. And what trade idea 4 does is it's looking for stocks that are below the prices below the 200 period moving average, but that's cross above the 50. Okay, so that's one criteria. Another criteria is that it's looking at only stocks that are down 15 to 30% from their 52-week high. And then the last thing it's looking at stocks that are in a 5% plus or minus channel during the last 60 periods. Okay. And then this one here, it's looking at 60 minutes and it's looking at the last candle. Okay. So let's go back to our bot window here, and let's go to my bots, and I'm just going to show you one more thing that you can do. So if you wanted to, you can build your own technical factor model in the technical analysis page, and then I'm going to show you how you can insert it here. So let's edit this, and what we're going to do here is we're going to remove this step. Just delete this step out, okay? And then what we're going to do now is we're going to delete this one also. We're going to take these two out, okay? And what we're going to do now is we're going to add in a step, proceed step, okay? And what we're going to do here is we're going to go with the equity, and we are going to go with a pre-screen technical preference, and we're going to look for trade idea number 4, okay? And so here's trade idea number 4. So trade idea number 4 is looking at all stocks and ETFs. It's looking at 60 minutes, not daily like we were before. It's going to look at the channels of this. It's going to look for prices that are down this much. And then it's looking at these 2-week moving averages, and we're going to hit save and say yes to path. Okay, so now what we've done is we've changed our bot a little bit. So the start time is the same, and we've added in our new technical analysis for the signals, and it's still going to use the call and the EOCO. These aren't going to change. We're going to keep them in. And now let's save it, and we're gonna keep all this stuff the same, and we're going to hit save again. Okay, and so this is just another way of building a bot, is by using the technical analysis page to build your criteria and then insert it into your bot creation if you wanted to. So I'll stop and see if I confuse anybody, or if anybody's got any questions on that.
So, like, what is the 60-minute time frame? Like, is it only doing that technical analysis for like the first 60 minutes, or?
Yeah, it's looking at every 60-minute chart. So what that means is that every hour it's going to put a candle in, or a chart signal. But that's what the 60-minute means. So rather than having a daily chart for one day, it'll have 8 60-minute charts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what, I mean, we could go in the technical analysis page and save that. So let's say that I'm gonna go into this window here. So there we go. I mean, we could go in to trade idea number 4, and we could make a new version of that, and we could say that we only want to look at daily charts. So let's click this on to daily. And last candle, let's say we want to do it within 5 candles, and let's see if it doesn't find any stocks. So you can see it's looking for stocks. So let's change this back to 60 minutes and see what kind of stocks it was pulling up. And so at the moment, it's not pulling up any stocks at all. So which happens. Sometimes you build a model and it doesn't really find a trade every day. So you can tweak these. Let's pull up a different one. Let's look at trade idea number 3 here. And let's see what happens with trade idea number 3. So trade idea number 3 only has pulled up 1 stock. So if we went to trend up, these are all different models that were built. So there's no stocks in that one. Trend down S&P, how about any in that one? Nope. And let's see, trend up S&P 500. Let's see if there's any in this one. Nothing in that one. So you can see sometimes you just don't find any, so you just kind of got to build new ones, and find stuff that will find different results. Sometimes you get pages and pages of them, and sometimes on some days you don't get any results at all. So it just kind of depends. So, but as you can see, I've got tons of different models in here that are built, and then when you go, then all of these kind of go back. Let me go back to the, and all of those are used in all these different bots that I've got in here. So if you want, so this is just a test environment, and I'm going to switch to a different screen here. Can you guys see this new one that I just put in, where it's got the option circle gold here?
Yeah.
Okay, and you see the bullish 30-minute 5x times 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is now in our live environment. Once we find bots that we like and we test them, we put them into this live environment. And you can see here some of the performance on some of the bots that we built here over the last, and really these are only like 60 days old. So we've got a bunch of different ones that are doing pretty decent. We've got a bunch that are basically up a little bit, and then down below we've got a bunch that are going to lose money also. And so what we do is we go through the ones that are losing money. We try to figure out, okay, why is this losing money? And then I'll tweak them. I'll make new versions of them, and then we'll let them run for a few weeks and see what happens. And so we can see we've got about 75 different bots that we're running right now, all doing different things. Some of them are similar. They might have the same name, but they do different things. Like this one here is selling put spreads, but this one here is a little bit longer. So this is looking at like 60 days. One down below is looking at 30 days, and this one down here is looking for 14 days and less. So they have different types of options that it's trading. So.
That's very interesting. Bruce, so the interns are, as I mentioned through Slack, they're trying to basically run like an experiment where, they compare how the bot does to how a human does trading over the course of basically like 2 weeks, like 14 days. And so they've been kind of stuck on the part of just like creating the initial bot that's going to go against the human, because they're trying to figure out one that's like sort of a simple enough strategy that the human, obviously the human's not going to like check it every 60 minutes perfectly and, you know, down to X amount of candles. And, you know, it's going to be a lot more manual labor and not that often. But do you have just any recommendation on, you know, what would be a good way to structure a bot for an experiment if you were going to try to compare it as much as you could, apples to apples, to like a human trader's capabilities over 2 weeks?
You know, you can look at stocks that cross the 50-day moving average. You know, keep stuff real simple. Or you could look at like stocks that cross that 20 cross the 50. I mean, to be quite honest, you're going to build a model that the human's going to trade, right? And the difference is that, you know, if you're trying to do it from a human standpoint, you know, you're going to get bogged down trying to look at different stocks that are right. I mean, you got over 3,000 Russell 3000 stocks that you can look at, and there's no way you're going to look at more than, you know, a few dozen of those a day. The bot's going to be able to go through. The bot's going to be able to go through 3,000 of those in basically 2 or 3 minutes. So, so I don't really have an answer to that question. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we know that the bot is going to win. But we're just trying to figure out
not necessarily, but the bot's going to give you more. The bot's going to give you more at bats, right? It's going to see a lot more opportunities depending on what your bot does. So, you know, that's the difference. You can really compare it to, let's say that you give 2 different people at the desk the same strategy, right? So let's say you can only look at stocks that the price is crossed above the 50-day moving average, right? So you build that bot, and you're going to find the bot may not find any. So maybe you want to look at moving averages that cross 7 days, something really simple, or 21 days. The bot's going to find as many as there are really, really quickly. The human person who's doing it is going to have to go through tons of charts trying to find stuff that does that. And you're going to be grinding through looking at hundreds of charts during the day, and you might find 1 or 2. The bot's going to be able to do that in minutes. So, so if you're going to look at the same strategy, the bot's going to get you a lot more at bats much quicker.